I'm Richard Clarke. I record these talks every day as a way to deepen my inquiry. Listen each day and deepen your own practice. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 323. While explaining stanza 6 of Arunachala Ashtaka, Sri Bhagavan observed as follows. The final word in the previous stanza asks, is there one? The initial word in the present stanza answer, yes, there is one. It proceeds, though it is the only one. Yes, there is the one. It proceeds, though it is the only one, yet by its wonderful power it gets reflected in the tiny dot I, the ego, otherwise known as ignorance, or the aggregate of latent tendencies. This reflected light is relative knowledge. This, according to one's prarabdha, past karma now fructifying, manifests the inner latent tendencies as the outer gross world, and withdraws the gross external world as the subtle internal tendencies. Such power is called mind in the subtle plane and brain in the physical plane. The mind or brain acts as a magnifier to that eternal one being and shows it forth as the expanded universe. In the waking and dream states, the mind is outward bent, and in sleep it is inward bent. With the mind as the medium, the one supreme being seems diversified in the waking and dream states and remains withdrawn in the sleep state or swoon, etc. Therefore, you are only that and cannot be otherwise. Whatever the changes, the same one being remains as yourself. There is nothing besides yourself. In this dialogue, Ramana Maharshi illuminates the profound Arunachala Ashtaka, stanza 6. He wrote most of this work on a pradakshina around Arunachala. This was the last verse written that day. In this verse is Ramana's view of the self, the mind, the world, and self-realization. He quotes the verse. The meaning is clear. Here is the verse in another translation. Thou art thyself, the one being, ever aware as the self-luminous heart. In thee there is a mysterious power which without thee is nothing. From it proceeds the phantom of the mind, emitting its latent, subtle, dark mists, which, illumined by thy light of consciousness reflected on them, appear within as thoughts whirling in the vortexes of prarabdha, later developing into the psychic worlds and projected outwardly as the material world, transformed into concrete objects, which are magnified by the outgoing senses and move about like pictures in a cinema show. Visible or invisible, O Hill of Grace, without thee they are nothing. The stanza begins by answering a question posed in the previous stanza. Is there one? Ramana highlights the significance of this inquiry as it sets the stage for the subsequent revelation. The response provided at the onset of stanza 6 is emphatic. Yes, there is the one. The verse then talks about the nature of this one. Despite being singular, it possesses a remarkable quality, the ability to manifest in various forms through its wondrous power. This manifestation occurs in the mind through the medium of the ego, here referred to as the tiny I, another name for ignorance. The verse then says something I think is important, which is that ignorance consists of latent tendencies. This is why a focus on destroying vasanas, tendencies, is important later in your practice. Ramana then says that the mind is only reflected light, the light of consciousness reflected through the mind and ego and tendencies. The verse touches upon Maya, or illusion, where the one appears diversified due to the influence of the ego with its accumulated karmic tendencies. The reflected light of the one, manifested through relative knowledge, interacts with these latent tendencies, leading to the manifestation of the external world. This process is intricately tied to one's past karma or prarabdha, which determines the nature of one's experience now in this time. The power behind this manifestation is attributed to the mind in the subtle plane and the brain in the physical plane. The Maharshi explains that the mind and brain serve as a magnifier, projecting the eternal one being onto the canvas of the universe, thereby creating the illusion of diversity. Throughout different states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, the mind operates either outwardly or inwardly, shaping our perception of reality. In the waking and dream states, the mind extends outward, leading to the perception of a diverse world. Conversely, in sleep, it turns inward, leading to the withdrawal of external stimuli. Ramana stresses the continuity of the one being throughout all these states, emphasizing that your true nature remains unchanged despite the fluctuations of experience. Who you are always, in all the states. Concluding, Ramana reaffirms the essence of Advaita Vedanta. The ultimate reality is non-dual, and your true identity is inseparable from the one being. He emphasizes the self-evident truth that regardless of external changes, the essence of existence remains constant, and there exists nothing apart from the self. Ramana Maharshi's recounting of stanza 6 encapsulates the core teachings of Advaita Vedanta, which invites you to recognize your inherent oneness with the eternal one being and transcend the illusion of the ego and the separate manifested world. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. The book, Who Am I with Comments, is my take on these early teachings of Ramana Maharshi. It's available on Amazon, free to Kindle subscribers. A link is in the video notes. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.